I was in the 1st Battalion of the 141st, and we landed at the extreme right-hand edge of the whole invasion. We landed in a small bay. I can't tell you the name of the bay. I could if I look it up here, but the road goes right down along the ocean there, and right on the other side of the road is this big monstrous railroad bridge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. I've been there before, but this is interesting what you're telling me. I mean, I'm interested to know what you're like, how you saw it. You know, as a soldier.
Oh well, I wasn't a rifleman, but I was this one on the invasion or something. Of course, we were kind of all the same. My job then, I mean, as far as landing, you know, we of course we went in there in these I forget what they call them again, but there's the assault boats that drops down in the front, and they all run off, you know.
Okay, I think they were LCVPs. Was the technical term.
No, the LCTs. Those are big boats.
The LCVP, landing craft vehicle personnel.
Yes. The LCVP. That's right. And I was on the. If you stop me if you think that there's something that you want to go some other route or no.
No. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll just explain to you briefly. Actually, I have a tape recorder that's attached to my phone. So what I usually do is people tell me what they lived through, and I can record it and then write it down as a text after that. And once you're finished telling me what you have to say, then I can ask you some questions if I have any particular questions or something. You know.
Yeah, I see. Well, I was, I got off of an LST onto one of those LCVPs, and I was either the second, I thought I was the third wave to land. I don't know what the first two were, but that's probably some of the riflemen. I had just my pack and carbine and everything, and then I had to carry a mine detector to shore as well, and I also had a 1 round of 81 millimeter mortar ammunition strapped to my pack in the front. And when our boat hit the shore, well, of course we were told to get off of there as fast as we can. So they hit what I thought was the shore, and they dropped the front down. And I was the first guy, and I went charging off of there, but he'd hit a sandbar about 8 or 10 feet out, and so I went out there and immediately fell down in the water, and then just kind of sloshed to shore. There was a big bomb hole right in the middle of this little beach, and there was a couple guys in there, and I ran down in there, and they told me to get out, that I had to, get off the beach. And so I ran down a little bit, and there was another hole that kind of had some barbed wire all twisted around it. But anyway, I tried to crawl in that hole and got stuck. And then one of my buddies who was behind me grabbed me by the feet and dragged me back out of it. And they were shooting at us with machine guns from out on the point of this bay.
So pretty much from behind, basically, then.
Yeah, they were. They was coming from behind us, and I can't remember. The thing is seeing the sand spurt from where their bullets were hitting, and I don't remember that any came too close to me. And but so then they still kept yelling at us to get off the beach, and so which we did. So then I ran up over the road, and then the big columns of this railroad bridge around the base of the columns was dug out, and so I was able to dive into one of those, and that's basically where I stayed until our rifle companies worked their way around out to that point, and I guess that the Germans either surrendered or they were killed. I don't know which. And but then after a while, then a shooting from kind of behind me, that stopped, and we had my platoon. One of the guys was injured, was shot, and bad enough that they put him back on the empty LCVP and took him back to the ship. And then from there, I guess he went to a hospital down in Naples or somewhere. And then we just kind of stayed. That's it. Our job was to take care of our battalion, the 1st Battalion of the 141st. Our job was to take care of their ammunition and K rations, and that's about all we had at the particular time, to take care of that and to stick with the battalion as they were making their assault. But we didn't go right just behind them, but so we stayed on the beach. And then after, I don't know, maybe an hour's time or an hour and a half's time, some of the riflemen were bringing back German prisoners.
Okay.
And I think there was an air base or something around there. I'm not sure of this. But anyway, these German soldiers, they brought them back to us, and we kind of searched them, and they didn't have any. They left their rifles somewhere else, I guess. But we searched them, and took away anything from them we thought that they could, knives or anything like that. And then we'd loaded some of them on those LCVPs, and then I guess they took them back to the ships as POWs, and I guess then they took them down into Naples or somewhere where they had them and had somebody there to guard them, I guess, on the ships. And it was kind of, after a while, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, or maybe even 2 hours, I don't know. This was about, I think it was 8 o'clock when the invasion, HR was supposed to be at 8 o'clock when the first wave landed. And so then I guess I landed there about 8:05 or 8:10, something like that.
Okay.
And we were, I remember going in on those LCVPs. One thing I thought, I could duck down, keep my head down in the thing, and be all set. Then once I noticed that they were made out of plywood, and I thought, boy, a lot of good that would do me. And I thought they were steel, and I'd be kind of protected. But anyway, the LCVP was just made out of plywood, and there was a medic on the LCVP with us, and he had a stretcher. He was crouched down there too, but his stretcher was standing straight up, and anyway, he got the end of it shot off. So we made sure that we were crouching down in there as much as we could, and then there was big, some kind of little ships they were, but they shot off rockets, big rockets, which I didn't even know that the Americans had, but they shot them off towards the beach, and behind us was a big battleship of some sort, and when they would fire, and the shells would go right over our heads, and it sounded like a railroad engine, a freight train going right over the top of us, and then I guess it went on in there somewhere, and when it hit, and but then after we were on shore for a while, and we just stayed down in that dugout area there around the columns of the big old bridge until it quieted down, and then they brought the soldiers back, and then we after a while we just had keep them there, and then the time came when we had to march them. We led them or marched them or whatever you want to call it. That would be west along the road there, which ran right along the ocean there, and we led those Germans, or guarded them as we marched them along. About a 5-mile trek, I think, before we were able to come into contact with the other.
With the 2nd and 3rd battalions?
What's that, sir?
With the 2nd and 3rd battalions of the 141st?
Yeah, but they landed to the west of us, and some of those guys, as best I remembered it, on the 2nd and 3rd Battalion, they just basically walked ashore. But our 1st Battalion was would you want to hold on a minute? I can get this one book of mine, and I could give you some names that you might recognize.
I know the names though, because I already have the same books, so I know it's Antheor, Cove, and all those places. But if you want, you can get the book though. If you want, yeah.
No, I hold on just a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think I can hear you better.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of deaf, hard of hearing now, and so this phone here, I could turn up the volume on it better. There we're all set. That bay is a book that you have, the big black book or something called the Fighting 36.
I was sent photocopies. Like, I've read several things about it, so I'm really not sure if I've seen that one or not. But just what's most interesting for me is what you remember personally, because the books, I've seen them and I can always check back on them and everything,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's true. Well, that's the way it was when we landed, and of course I didn't do any of the shooting back. That was A, B, and C companies, and they landed. I guess we were a little bit haphazard when they landed on the beach there. Only, as I understand it, or they told me that only 2 of the LCVPs could land in there at the same time, and I remember us being just the only boat that hit the shore, and then of course more come afterwards. And I guess I was with other guys in my platoon, and the fellows that were in that big bomb hole, I guess that was their job as a beach masters or something, to get us off of the beach, so we didn't bunch up and make a target for the Germans that were shooting at us. And that was when I was on the shore, and if I'd be looking away from the ocean, while I was behind me on the right-hand side, that they were shooting at us in there, and some of the other guys told me that they were doing the same thing on my left side of us, and the bay was narrow. It wasn't more than, I don't know, the whole beach wasn't much more than 150 yards long. And are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know. I got one of those mobile phones that could cut out on you when you don't least expect it, I guess. And I was told too, although I don't remember it any, but they said that there was a German 88 back out there on that other point of shore, but I don't remember it shooting at us that I can remember. But there were some, mortars, I guess, that were coming in, but I don't remember anything too close, really, other than when, and when my buddy dragged me back out of that hole that I got tangled up with in the barbed wire, and when he pulled me back out, well then that's when I saw the spurts from the machine gun fire as they landed And yeah, here we go. It's, you know, when we landed, there's a picture in this one book there, and I looked real hard to see if I might be in there, because I had to help. Yeah, this one photograph in there is a whole bunch of German prisoners walking through the railroad tunnel, and we were taking them into San Rafael, and we turned them over to I don't know, I guess MPs or somebody that were on shore by that time. And
what was the name of the guy who was wounded? You said one guy from your company was wounded. Do you remember his name, maybe?
Oh, his name was Ronald Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Okay.
And he died just a couple of years ago. I used to see him once in a while at the reunions when I went to it. And they, when I started, I don't know, back in the late 80s, anyway, I started trying to track the guys down in my platoon, and I found about 18 of them that I was able to get in touch with, and then there was about another 19 or 20 that had died in the meantime, and then there was about another 15 to 18, something like that, I never was able to find.
Okay.
So, but it was Ron Wright, as I remember, he's the guy that told me anyway that he's the one that pulled me out. I didn't know whether it was him or there was a fellow named, he was my sergeant, his name was Leonard Bruno. And
so Ron Wright called you out and then got wounded afterwards, you mean?
Yeah, after he pulled me out of the hole.
Yeah, then he got shot. Then.
Yeah, then he got shot somewhere along that way there. I didn't even I didn't even remember where it was. You know, we just went up and then whatever one of those holes that were around the columns, we just dove into them. They were about 8 feet deep, and at the very bottom of it, and so you couldn't really, you could stand up in there and still not have your head above the
ground level
line. Yeah, and then after things quieted down and they started bringing the German prisoners back to us, and we searched them and put them on the LCVPs for a little while, but then they started bringing them back to us in such big numbers that we just kind of had them corralled there, and then I and 2-3 other guys marched them down the beach or down the road and everything, and the road wound in and out and along the shore until we got to the edge of San Rafael, and then that's where the 2nd and the 3rd Battalion landed in there. But there was about 3-4 miles between our battalion and the 2nd and 3rd Battalion, and our battalion we received a presidential unit citation for our actions, I guess, there when we landed. From what the riflemen did. We run what they called Blue Beach, and let's see here. Blue Beach.
And there's a guy called Albert Foster who was in headquarters company of the 1st Battalion who got killed there. Did you know him, maybe?
Doesn't ring a bell with me now. No. I very well probably knew him, but I don't remember that.
Okay.
His name was Elwood Foster?
No, Albert Foster.
Oh, Albert Foster.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I don't really remember him.
Okay.
At this time, I knew most of the guys in my company that. I joined the 36th Division at what we called Casino, the Rapido River in Italy, and then that was a bad time too. And then that was in January of '44, and and then of course we made the invasion. It was either the 14th or 15th day of August. What was?
It was August 15th.
Oh, okay. I was asking my wife there because we were married on August 14th. And I could never remember which day it was that I landed and which day I got married on.
Okay. And what about the next days after the landing? The day after the landing, for example, you know?
I really don't remember. I just I think they loaded us up in trucks and took us into San Rafael, and maybe we moved out of there a little bit. There was I can't think of the name of that area. When we took those prisoners in, you know, and we turned them over to MPs or something, and I remember going on, and I was just as thirsty as I could be, you know, after we got into walked into San Rafael. So I got on an LST, and I asked them if they could give me a drink of water, and they were just as nice as they could be, the sailors aboard there. And they gave us water and let us fill our canteens, and I think he probably gave us something to eat too. And you know, we spent a little time with them. They wanted to know what had happened, and things for me were quiet all up and down the beaches. I had one of the guys I know landed on Green Beach, and they just kind of walked ashore. And then there was a red beach. I don't know. There was one beach in there that the Germans had heavily fortified, and the captain was demolitions as well, you know, and so we got the order. Our platoon did to go and blow up the road so that the German tanks couldn't come at us, or the Germans couldn't come down the road at us. And so we went, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half or something, down the road towards Cans or whatever you call it, Cans I think it is. And we went through this one tunnel, but the road went through the tunnel, and when you come out on the other side, just about, 40, 50 feet or maybe a couple hundred yards out of the tunnel on the east side of the tunnel, and we tried to blow up the road, but all we had was a minimum amount of explosives and stuff that we carried in with us, so we really didn't have any of the equipment to do it with. So we took all the explosives and everything that we had and the stuff that we could pick up and piled it in the middle of the road, and put some lumber and stuff across the top of it to try to direct the force of the explosion down, and it did. And we just blew a big hole in the road, and that's all we could do. And so if they find anybody that ever come down that road and they remember that big hole in the road that was east of this tunnel, we're the guys that did that.
Okay, that was you then. That was you who. Okay. Yeah. And I know there's on the direction towards Cannes, there's a place where there's a railroad tunnel. You know, the train track goes under a mountain, and I know that some of the guys from D Company and stuff said they were hiding in there. Did you ever get to see that tunnel or go inside it?
No, not the railroad tunnel.
Okay.
The tunnel we were in was by itself, and the railroad tunnel must be just to the right or just to the left of the tunnel that we were in. You know. But it was just a road that went through the tunnel where we were, and I didn't know anything about the guys in D Company. I guess they were pushing east the way we were a little bit. I don't know whether that was the same day that we landed or maybe the next day. I guess I could, if I could. I really can't tell you a whole lot more about it because I don't remember the guys. I remember searching the Germans and taking, they had their knife and fork and spoon sets that they had. We took those away from them, and they had and of course I think we took any kind of money, any French money that they had. We took it too, and I remember they used to have these Germans had all these beat up watches, kind of pocket watch. And they were all kind of beat up and rough looking, and it wasn't until later, so we don't want any of those things. So until later on, we found out it was some kind of a little case that they put their watch in to keep the sand and stuff out of it.
Okay.
So, so we didn't take any of those things from them. We just took any money that they had, and I guess that was just about it, And then we put them on board those LCVPs and sent them on out,
And what did you do with the money that you took from them? You had to turn it in, or how did that work?
No, we kept it, and then I think about 2 days later or something, they were up at the house, and I remember they were playing poker with somebody had some cards, so there wasn't anything for us to do but wait till they tell us to do something. So I remember they had a poker game going. I don't think I was in it, but I remember the game. And some of the guys lost whatever money they had. There wasn't that much money, I don't think. Whatever this, some of the Germans had with them, we didn't know what the money was worth or if it was worth anything at all.
Okay.
And a lot of it we thought was just old, German
marks,
invasion money.
Oh,
like
okay.
That,
okay. And do you remember any casualties occurring during the first few days there? Any of the
Liberty ships that was anchored in the bay out there, or it was anchored out there in the ocean. I do remember that.
So can you try to tell me in details what it looked like, this plane, and like exactly where you were when you saw it?
Yeah, we were kind of up on some hills, so you could look down into the ocean, into the sea, and we saw them do that. And then scattered all around us, there was some like fields, but the Germans had put telephone poles and things. They buried them there so that the glider troops couldn't land. And I guess some of the glider troops, we saw some wrecked gliders that hit some of these poles and things. And there wasn't anybody there then. I guess they either moved out or and they took the injured away.
But you were saying you saw this German airplane come.
Yeah, just one German airplane came over, and he shot off. It looked like a rocket of some kind, but he shot it off, and it kind of went out ahead of him a ways, and then went on down and hit just one Liberty ship. And there was a big explosion there. But then again, we were up a couple miles from the edge of the water, and so I don't know what happened other than we just was there and saw it. Then I think we probably some point they stopped and told us to get off and dig in and